What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the John Langell YouTube channel. And as you saw from the title of today's video, we are going to be talking about none other, everyone's favorite day of the week, the Saturday-Sunday long run. Now, the long run is a treasured tradition. It's something that connects distance runners all the way from the marathon to the mile. It is kind of a catch-all for just a long aerobic effort, usually done at the end of the week going into a rest day. But recently, over time, we have seen a slight decline in, might I say it, the long run is borderline going extinct. And that's the topic that I want to kind of discuss in today's video. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I first want to preface this to kind of say, the long run, it's not really going anywhere. People are still implementing it into their training program, especially if they are a high mileage runner or a marathoner. It is very beneficial to a marathon runner to run the long run. But we see a lot of milers, 5K, even 10K guys kind of just disregarding the long run at a certain point. You know, it is still kind of implemented in a lot of base phases. It's an easy way to get in a lot of mileage, but it's not necessarily being seen or used as a core workout week in and week out. And that's something I kind of want to discuss. So why is this kind of happening? I think that the reason this is happening is a big surge of a new method of training we all know and love, and that is double threshold. What double threshold does is it takes this long run, this big aerobic effort, splits it up, and you run faster and recover longer in between the sessions. And you get just as much mileage. For example, I have not really done a long run since cross-country season. And a big reason for why I personally think the long run is almost obsolete at this point is the recovery period. When doing double threshold, you're able to get in 18-mile days. And when I do a long run, I run 16 miles and I'm cooked. I'm just absolutely cooked at the end of the day, especially in the middle of summer when it's hot, it's humid, it's miserable. But if you substitute the long run for a double threshold training, you're just recovering in between the sessions. You have more time to recover. You split it up into two separate session workout days. Even though it's all one day, you're really getting more bang for your buck when it comes to recovery. You're also getting in more volume of hard effort. Doing a long run, the body starts to really hit a fatigue state, and it's especially rare for athletes that aren't marathon runners to actually fuel their long runs. You know, a lot of times, not only am I going into this long run faster, but I'm not really going to pop a gel 10 miles into a long run. And that's something that a lot of distance runners that aren't marathoners kind of think of as taboo to fuel during a run. And that's another reason that the long run is almost detrimental in some aspects. You know, I know a lot of times during the summer, I'll go out on a long run and I'll just come back and I'll just be like absolutely dehydrated, dying, slowing down last miles like 8-minute pace, just walk it in because I'm just so cooked because I wasn't able to properly recover or intake and once I hit that wall, so to speak. Now, all of this is not to say that a long run is not a bad thing. I personally still kind of implement a long run at the end of the day. Like on Saturdays, instead of doubling to hit 12 to 15 miles, I'll just do a full straight through long run, easy. I don't necessarily look at long runs as a workout anymore. I just look at them as a longer effort of easy running, and it's not exactly fatiguing my body to the point that it would if you do an actual workout. And I think that's the biggest thing, as I stated before, is that it's just so hard on the body to go out there and run like 20 miles. You can just break that up into a double threshold session. You're getting more bang for your buck. Sure, you might look cool. You might feel like a hardo because you just went out there and you you ran 6-minute pace for 20 miles. But that, at the end of the day, that isn't really going to do anything for you if you're going to be racing mile, 3K, 5K, 10K. Being able to hold that 6-minute pace for a sustained period of effort of time is beneficial, sure, if you're a marathoner, but when you're trying to get in that high-end speed at the lower end, it's just adding on to something that you may already have that strength, and you kind of need to sharpen it up on the bottom end. And that's where aerobic threshold kind of comes in. You're getting a lot of volume at a much faster pace. You're getting a lot more bang for your buck, and that's why the long run's just going extinct at this point. A lot of people aren't necessarily doing long run workouts anymore, unless they're, of course, specifying their training for marathon training. But I myself, as a collegiate athlete, have noticed across the board that a lot of people are opting out of the long run, and it's a dying breed for sure, especially when it comes to long run workouts. But I still think it's beneficial to have an easy long run. An easy long run, just you have all the time on Saturday to just do this easy long run. You don't need to double. Doubling is, of course, beneficial throughout the week and recovering. But when you're going into a rest day, you can kind of just send it. Not necessarily send it, but it's not going to be as detrimental as you think if you were to just do a full 15-mile run opposed to doubling, when you're going to have 48 hours of rest in between the run on Saturday to Monday. All right. So a big part of why I wanted to make this video is because the long run is such an ingrained and integral part to American distance running. Back in the day, people would talk about these crazy, long, high mileage runs they would go on, just grinding it out really fast. Running with the Buffaloes, the book talks about the long runs on Magnolia Road. I know that it's very cool to run a 16-mile run in one sitting. It just looks cool on Strava. It just makes you feel good about yourself. And it's been a part of American culture for sure. And a lot of maybe Europeans and Africans don't necessarily see it as such an integral part to training at the lower distances. Of course, marathoners are the exception. But a lot of people, of course, as I stated, opt for other methods of training, such as double threshold. And one such athlete is Andreas Longrun, who says that he implements it into his base phase, but he kind of just slowly eradicates it as he's getting more and more specific to race-based stuff, which is, as I stated before, my philosophy as well. I don't think it's necessarily an important workout to be doing in the midst of the season, and a lot of times it's actually detrimental to be doing it while you're trying to race for obvious reasons, as I stated before. But one of the reasons I wanted to make this video, of course, is because it's such a part of American culture. We have all of these crazy stories of long runs. Every American loves to do long runs. It's why there's memes about it. The Church of the Sunday long run, a lot of people like to say. Everyone loves to post their long run to the story. And while I do think in some aspects it can be beneficial, we are starting to see a lot of people stray away from it, and I don't necessarily know if that's a good or bad thing, because at the end of the day, we are not training to run long distances. We are training to run fast for up to 30 minutes at a time. And while, yes, I do believe in high mileage, I don't know how much beneficial it can be to the body to just be continuously pounding into the ground for 3 hours at a time. But it's definitely something that it's a culture shift in America, because it was just such a part of high intensity training of these 120-mile weeks. And nowadays people are opting to run these 120-mile weeks running twice a day. And I think it's showing just our evolution of training as we start to better understand our bodies and our way of training. And I've even seen some people say that double threshold is obsolete in some aspects, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to what works for your body and what works for your schedule and what works for your life. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment on the discussion. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out.
And I don't want to think about tomorrow.